The TextBG plugin will allow us to create a backplate for a font and have it scale as we type more. So to set a scene up here, we're going to use a font and we'll just drag that into the scene tree, and then we'll go into our built-ins, into the geometry plugins, and we'll use a Noggi with this. So I'm just going to drag that into the scene tree as well. I'm going to go into the Noggi first and just set my stretch here to 0 since I don't want any stretch on it. And then I'm just going to drag a material onto our Noggi as well, just to differentiate our font from the Noggi here. Then lastly, I just want to move my text in front of the Noggi here, or you can move the Noggi back in Z space. We'll just move the text above it. Now we'll go into the built-ins, into the container plugins. Within the tools folder is the TextBG. And immediately when I drag that onto our Noggi, you can see what's happening here. And if we just go into our text here, and as I start to type, you can see that this Noggi will grow and shrink with the text here. So if we come into our TextBG, we have a couple of settings here. Now by default, that was fairly easy just by dragging it onto that container, and it's set to width and height here. And our scene was already set up. So we have a text container, and it's set to previous here. So that means that we drug our TextBG onto our Noggi, but the previous container is the text, which is really controlling what the size of the Noggi should be. And in the direction here, we have it set to X and Y. By default, our hide empty is on. And what that means, if we were to come up into our text and get rid of all of our text, then that Noggi would now be hidden because the hide on empty was on. So we also have a right margin here that we can adjust left and right. There's also a bottom margin as well, so we can scale up our Noggi behind it as well. Now there's a lock margins. So once you turn that off, we can now adjust independently each margin of the backplate. Now the direction, if we just wanted it to go on the X and we come in here and type, we would just type on the X and that's all it would work on. If we set it to X and Y here, and then come back into our text, if we hit enter and start typing, it's going to grow on the Y with us as well. Now lastly, the scene may not always be set up like this. So within our TextBG and this text container, we also have other options here, and parent, next, other. So if we were to come up and reverse our containers here and put our font on the bottom, that means we would now need to reverse our text container here or set it to a different setting. So instead of previous, we would set it to next in this case, because our font is now below or the next container within the scene, and that's controlling the backplate. If you're not sure, you can always use the other setting here, and you can click it on other, and once the other becomes active, you can see that the backplate disappears because it's waiting for this container. So now we can just come in and drag our font container on that, and our backplate comes back. And if we go into the text to add more text or delete text, you can see that the TextBG now goes with it.